Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Shining Light VideoPodcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm Michael Esposito, the host of the show. I'm also a local insurance agent specializing in business and personal insurance. My guest today will shine a light on drone photography and how he gets the very best pictures of the Hudson Valley. He's Keith Perry of Hudson Valley Drones. But first, I'd like to give you an update on Forgotten Children of Haiti's fundraiser, Masks for the Frontline in Haiti. We're stuck at $2,000. We're trying to meet a goal of $5,000 by the end of the month. So if you haven't donated yet, please visit the link in my bio and the description of this video and make a donation today. Currently, frontline workers in Haiti have to buy locally made masks at $8 a piece. So we're asking if you could just make an $8 donation to buy one mask for one frontline worker. That would be much appreciated. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in my guest. Give us 1 second, and he's going to be coming in live right now. All right, so he's coming in now. And let's see. There he is. How are you, Keith?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Doing good, man. Doing good. All right, let me just get your audio up a little bit and introduce you properly here. Welcome, everybody, to the Shining Light VideoPodcast Show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. My guest today is a drone expert. He takes some amazing pictures of NewPaltz, of the Hudson Valley, these awesome, beautiful shots. He is Keith Perry of Hudson Valley Drones. Welcome, Keith.
Thanks for having me, Mike. What an intro. I love
it. I've been practicing it all morning for you.
Awesome.
So Keith, tell us about how you got into drone photography and those amazing pictures that you've been taking and sharing and that have been going viral on social media.
Yeah, sure. It's not exactly like a super glamorous story. 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't really have like a big history in photography or anything like that. 4 or 5 years ago, I was walking through Best Buy and I saw a drone that was on sale, and I bought it because I thought I could start a business renting it out. And I bought it and started flying it. People wanted to hire me, and one thing led to another. I was, certified to do it commercially, and just started posting consistently on social media, posting, and it's kind of refined my skills over time, and it just grew into something where I try to post consistently and post good photos on social media of Hudson Valley that we see every day.
Yeah, so you just said you bought it 5 years ago. So what kind of triggered you to decide to buy this drone that you just wanted to play with it kind of thing? Because I remember when you and I met, you were an insurance agent. So was there any thoughts of like using it as like cross promoting or anything like that, or it was just to play with?
That's not much, more just to play with, and I thought that I could, I pictured a longer term business model of renting out the drone and renting out equipment and making money that way, and it just proved to be a little bit more lucrative to do it from the service end and consulting end.
Did you ever try to rent it out? Did you ever try that process?
I never actually have.
You didn't?
Never really came to fruition, but no, it didn't happen at all.
No. Oh, wow. Okay. So, and with the pictures that you take these really, really cool shots. And of course, I mean, they're drone pictures, so they're high up. We all kind of know what a drone picture looks like. But you make these pictures really stand out. And you and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday. Could you share with us how you do that? And you don't have to give away your secrets. But could you share with us some of these pictures and how you make them stand out so well?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a few things that I do or that I try to do. I mean, one thing, and I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make, even before talking about post and post processing, is like when people take drone photography. A lot of times, they think they should just go up as high as you can, which is 400 feet legally, and just take a shot of anything, and it's cool. And a lot of times, sometimes that's cool, but I find a lot of times the more compelling shots are taken at a lower vantage point. So I think that's the first and most important thing is, focusing on the composition of what you're trying to show and what you're trying to, the story you're trying to tell with your picture. lot of the photography is done using a technique called HDR, and it's done in a lot of industries. I mean, real estate uses it a lot. You take a photo at several different exposures, and it allows you to kind of merge those exposures together and create an image that doesn't have any, blown out portions, and the light areas aren't too dark, areas aren't too dark. Uniform photo.
The feed kind of cut out a little bit. You were just saying something about you take 2 photos of uniform markers, and then the feed kind of cut out a little bit.
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It okay. Sometimes goes in and out. I mean, it's what we're dealing with technology today.
No problem, man.
It's like getting stuck in traffic. This is equivalent in quarantine. Our screens freezing up is the equivalent to getting stuck in traffic right now since we're in quarantine.
First world problems, man. First world problems.
Yeah. So you were just saying about how the HDR, how it takes the different shots like pretty much all in one, and then I kind of like lost you there, started freezing up a little bit.
Sure. It's a technique that's used in a lot of industries. I mean, real estate is one that uses it pretty commonly. But you take a photograph and you actually take like an identical photograph at several different exposures, ranging from dark underexposed to something that's more correctly exposed and something overexposed, and then you merge those photos together, and it allows you to to have an image that has the lights aren't too light, the darks aren't too dark. There's no blown out portions. It allows you to kind of see detail throughout the photograph in different levels of light. So that's one of the techniques that we use. And
is that like a program that you put it in, or is that something where you have to sit down and take all of these different pictures and line them up and kind of blend them together yourself?
Most of the equipment and most of the cameras have an option to bracket images. So you take one image, you hit the shutter, you hit the button to take a photo one time, and you can hear it actually take 3 or 5 photos. So it creates some a little bit of an issue if you're doing a subject that's moving. So that doesn't always work, but there's a lot of programs that use it. There's a program called Aurora HDR. Lightroom does it. Photoshop, and you can do it in almost in a lot of different programs in post.
Cool. This is the Shining Light VideoPodcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry of Hudson Valley Drones, and we're just talking about some of the technology that he uses to take some of the stunning photos that he takes, and that you could find on his Instagram page. Keith, you take some awesome pictures. You fly that drone in some pretty neat places. What's one of the coolest places that you've flown the drone to and taken some shots of?
There's a lot of them. I did one.
You can name them.
I did a project on a luxury resort down in Key West, and that was really cool. I'd never been to Key West before, and just kind of being in like a tropical paradise, flying the drone, getting paid to do that was good. But going to some cool destinations. I mean, did an assignment for a company that wanted some footage of New York City. New York City has some arguably antiquated drone laws and some complex airspace, but one way to get around a lot of the regulations is to take off from a boat in the Hudson River. So I had a client rent a boat, and we went out on the boat, and we took the drone off from the boat, and took video of downtown Manhattan, and then landed it back on the boat to kind of get around the regulations. So actually, I would say that was probably the coolest one overall.
So you seem to go on these assignments, or jobs that they would be. What are some of these jobs that you get? So when we're talking about drone photography, it's obviously a much different than a regular photographer. Of course, I've had photographers on here, and we're talking about headshots, we're talking about real estate photos, and I know you do some of that. But when we're looking at drone photography, these assignments that you get taken on, could you share with us like who's hiring you for what?
Yeah, totally. So typically, I mean, to take a step back, typically a drone photograph or a drone, really, we'll talk drone video here. I think that's probably more applicable. But typically, drone video isn't like the prime focus of a production, right? Typically, drone video is like a composition of an overall production. So it'll be used to establish where you're located, or do a tracking shot, but it's usually not like the majority of the actual content. I mean, watch a car commercial, right? They'll show the inside of the car, they'll show close to the car, they'll show someone getting into the car, and then they'll show a brief pan of a drone flying, next to the car taking cool images. So typically the drone videography isn't the subject, isn't like the primary focus of the production, but it's something used to support the production. So sometimes real estate, sometimes for films, for advertising, for there's a ton of different reasons to highlight a location. There's a ton of different uses. I mean, but
right. So it's typically setting up the establishing shot, is what you're saying.
Yep. That's one of the more common uses of it. Absolutely.
Right. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry of Hudson Valley Drones, and we're just talking about drones and the shots that he's taken, some of the assignments. I know that there's some restrictions involved, of course. We could talk about that. But I also want to talk about some of the technology that you work with drones. I understand that you also do drone sales. And so could you speak to us about some of the technology that you're seeing in drones? I mean, they've come a long way since they came out several years ago. What's going on today in the drone world?
Yeah, they totally have. I mean, it seems as of recently there's a new drone coming out, or a new type of drone coming out weekly, and that's cool. There's changes in the camera technology, higher quality cameras with larger sensors, with higher resolution imagery. Like, that's something that you see improving, so you have a better camera in a smaller package. One thing I think we're seeing a lot is a move towards more autonomous operation. So a lot of drones nowadays have obstacle avoidance sensors on them, and when you fly them, they can either track their subject and or track something or orbit something, or they can avoid obstacles. So if you're flying it at a tree, it'll avoid the tree. At least it's supposed to. So I think seeing the technology move that way. Thermal imaging is something that's been on drones, for being used as a payload on drones for a bit, and now it's in certain aspects becoming more affordable. So I think we're seeing that in different industries as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the thermal imaging, because you mentioned that to me yesterday about that being something that's really up and coming today and something that's significant in your industry. So can you explain what thermal imaging is, which I think we all kind of have the concept of it, the red and the blues. But can you explain like how that works and what it's being used for today in drone technology, or in the drone business, that is?
Yeah, totally. So when we take a photograph with a conventional camera, right, we're capturing visual light that we can see with our eyes. And when we're using thermal imaging, infrared imaging, we're looking at, and the camera or the sensor is sensing radiation that comes from heat. So you can see something that you wouldn't traditionally be able to see. You'd only be able to feel. So we can put a sensor on a drone that sees thermal imaging, sees heat, and use it for a variety of applications. I mean, you see law enforcement using it to track people and in search and rescue operations. Like, if you have a lost hiker, you fly a drone over the forest and you can see that hiker, even if it may not be during the day or low light situations. A fire department using it for situational awareness when they're on a fire scene, getting a vantage point that they wouldn't be able to see, or that they would otherwise have to bring like a helicopter in for. That's really quick. A lot of industrial applications, so power lines, utility companies are using them, solar panel arrays, roof inspections. You can use heat or use thermal to see heat, and heat can be a byproduct of something that may not be working correctly. And it helps those industries improve their workflow and ultimately save time and money.
Wow. And so you're doing some of this today, like you're not today, but you're doing some of this thermal imaging for these kind of organizations?
Yeah, we do a lot of work on utilities, right? Solar panels is one.
Okay.
Things related to that, roof inspections. We do some work with some local law enforcement and emergency service agencies, some consulting work, and helping them use the thermal imaging for taking that technology, and the technology is only as good as your ability to be able to use it, so helping them use that firsthand.
Right.
So yeah, we're doing quite a bit of that, and it's very useful and pretty cool.
Cool.
Also, I mean, at the end of the day, it's enjoyable to do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's pretty neat, like to be able to track track things and people and animals and all sorts of different things, especially where we live here in the Hudson Valley, where we have so much forest and everything. You could probably track some pretty cool animals up in the woods. I don't even want to know. I know this morning I went for a walk with my daughters, and I was standing somewhere, and my daughter goes, "Daddy, what is that? Is that a snake?" And I was like, "Holy crap, there was a snake at my feet." And that's in our backyard, so I could only imagine what's in the mountains of Minnewaska and Mohonk. It's a little scary. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry, and we're just talking about drones, drone technology, and we didn't get into the sales, so I'd really like to hear about the drone sales that you do, because that is a part of your business that we don't speak about much. We see all the beautiful pictures that you do. I know that you get hired to do consultations, and as we setting up those shots to be able to for real estate agents and for other productions, but you also sell drones. I would love to hear, what's the price range, and why should your average person buy a drone?
Yeah, great question. So we are a retailer for DJI and a few other equipment manufacturers, but I'll talk to DJI right now, just because it's probably one of the most common. It is overwhelmingly has the market share in the industry. Drones are great. It's a great hobby. Like anything, you can spend almost as little or as much as you want. For a super, an entry level drone, I mean, you might be looking at $100. What you can do with it is a little bit limited, but you can use it to kind of get a feel. DJI makes a product called the Tello. I think it's $99, and you can fly it. You can fly it around the house. You can fly it outside, and you can have some fun with it. A lot of the Tello is actually used educationally also in a lot of schools for different purposes as well, and that's a pretty cool application also. That's another entire conversation, not really an industry we're in too much, but it's a great product for that. Then you can move up to something. I mean, to get something really functional that really takes some high quality photographs with, you're probably looking at about $500. Which, if you compare that to a camera, it's not too different. I mean, it's certainly an investment, absolutely. But what I tell people is, you may want to go for the cheapest option to try it out and see if you like it, but it's worth making an investment to get a decent product and a decent drone to use in the first place, because you're not really going to get the use out of it if you don't have something with at least some features.
Right.
DJI makes something called the Mavic Mini. It's $399 or $499 depending on the options, and that's like a really good entry level platform to be on, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would also recommend the fact that you can find out about these drones if you're interested. If you're in the market for these drones, of course, contact Keith here. But I know Casey Neistat is a YouTube vlogger, big YouTube sensation. But if you just Google him and drones, he does some great. He uses drones very well, but he also does some comparisons on the difference of the drones. And I know you just triggered it when you said the Maverick Mini. He kind of compared the Maverick Mini to another drone. So if you're kind of shopping, of course, reach out to Keith, but you could just take some YouTube, go into YouTube and find out some more about this technology. Awesome, Keith.
YouTube's incredible. Absolutely, yeah.
Isn't it?
You do some preliminary research, and if you have questions, like send me a message on Instagram or Facebook, or reach out to me. Like, that's the benefit of working with a local company. You can buy a drone at Best Buy and you can buy it online directly from the retailer, but they're not going to give you like the personalized help to figure out what equipment you want, what equipment you need, and what should I get? I have this much to spend, and I want to get into the hobby. Like, how do I do it? That's the benefit of working with a local company and a local retailer.
Yeah, you'll be able to steer them right down the right path. And speaking of your service and being able to help people out, you do a lot for the community. You're part of a lot of organizations. That's how we met. We met through, I think it was Gab originally, and then of course we've worked together in a NewPaltz Chamber and several other organizations. And you do a lot. And something that I wanted to speak about on your behalf is how you do. It's called in-kind type of sponsorships. And I would love to just hear from your side as a business owner. One, just describe what that is, and then two, why you choose to do that kind of sponsorship work.
Sure. In-kind sponsorship is, for lack of a better term, maybe like almost a barter agreement. It's an exchange of your time and your services for, the recognition of sponsoring an event. And we do that quite a bit because I feel like donating your time is often more valuable than donating just money. You can always donate your time, whether you have money or not. And that applies to anything, whether it's sponsoring an event or, a charitable organization or really anything. But you can always donate your time. Your time is your most valuable asset. But I feel that sometimes we can, by providing our service, by providing aerial footage, right? We did Taste of NewPaltz last year, and we'll do it this year, assuming it goes on, and hopefully next year. But I feel like donating our services can actually do more than just donating some money. It can help raise awareness, and it can help bring other people in. And I think it's more valuable to donate your services sometimes.
Yeah, and you described in kind as pretty much bartering, but I would actually argue and say that it's even better than that. Not better in the sense of bartering, but what I mean is bartering to me sounds like you're also getting you could ask for a little bit of cash, and you don't even do that. So, and that's why I really wanted to bring this up with you is that when we're talking with you, because I was the co-chair to the Taste of NewPaltz. So when we're having the conversation of, hey, will you do this? You're not saying, yeah, I'll cut my price at 50% or 25% or anything. You're saying, yeah, I'll just give it to you. I'm just going to give it to you. I'm just going to do it. Just put my name in somewhere. And that's what I love about it is that it really truly is something that you're just giving. It's like you have no intentions. You have no expectations. You're just saying, I'm going to provide the aerial shots and just put my name somewhere. That's all I'm asking. And that's really why I'm like, it's even more than bartering to me because you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's purely from a benevolent place. I mean, that's part of being a good corporate and a good member of your community, right? Is donating time to good causes and causes that you believe in. And I think that's important. And I think everyone can do that to some degree. Not everyone can necessarily donate aerial photography services, right? But everyone can donate something. Everyone can go pick up some trash on the side of the road or do something to better the community. And I think if we all do that and do one little thing a day, we can make a profound positive impact. I mean, we've seen that over the last 2 months or so, like people doing incredible things. And
yeah, we certainly can. I have to give you a shout out because you donated your time on my very first video podcast. I'm here with Keith Perry. This is the Shining Light VideoPodcast Show where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. Keith Perry was my very first guest on the show. When I decided to go live about 7 weeks ago, I turned on the live feed and I just started talking to the camera and Keith was there and I said, hey, do you want to join me? And he just popped on and said, yep. And we started having a great conversation. And I mean, Keith, you could have said, hey, you know what? I don't want to join in. I just want to watch or whatever. And that would have been fine. But you were willing to join in. And I really, really appreciate that. And to me, that kind of was like a in-kind sponsorship to this show of really helping me get the ball rolling and get this going. And so I appreciate that. Thank you very much for doing that for me. That really went a long way.
No worries. I appreciate what you do, man. I mean, this podcast and this video podcast every morning, I think really does shine light both on what people are doing and shine some light on people's day, right? Breaks up the monotony, gives you some social interaction. And I think what you're doing and spending your time, a lot of time, doing this is so incredible. So thank you. And on behalf of everyone that watches the show, thanks for doing that.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, the social interaction is great actually because I don't feel as disconnected because every day I'm having a virtual conversation with somebody new. So it's kind of neat. Like I'm always getting a different perspective, a different idea, and so it's kind of neat. So yeah, that's a good point. This is the Shining Light VideoPodcast Show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry, and he's the owner of Hudson Valley Drones. He does drone sales. He also does these awesome aerial images, and he also provides a lot for his community through in-kind services, and we just spoke about a lot of that today. Keith, I would like to ask you, as with what you're thinking, what do you feel is the positive outcome from this quarantine that we're all experiencing? What do you see as a positive outcome from this experience?
I think we're realizing that there's a lot more to life than just working. You fall into that trap a lot of times, running on the hamster wheel and getting up every day and doing the same thing, driving to work, spending 8, 9, 10 hours at work, coming home, doing the same thing every day, right? And it's easy to fall into that trap. But this has kind of given us, most people, a forced break. Like you don't have a choice. You have to take a break. and it helps you really spend some time doing some self-reflection, improving yourself, spending some time with your family, the people you care about. So I think, at least I hope, that the positive that we can take out of this is that we realize that there's more to life than just working and just kind of going about our day, right? We're here to live, and we're here to enjoy our time here, and this has kind of forced us to do that, right?
Yeah.
Have a lot of free time. You've got to figure out some stuff to do.
The only thing I can think of when you're saying about work is picturing you on a boat in Key West, and I'm going, this is coming from the guy who gets jobs down in Key West and gets to hang out on a boat and fly his drone around and gets paid for it.
It's not all glamorous.
I know.
That's the easy part, right? Being on the boat. The hard part is finding people that actually hire you to do that.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. But
no,
I don't hate it.
No, I totally get that. I think that's been a trend on here, is the whole appreciation for family and everything. But you're right, is that we do realize that work is not the most important thing in our lives, because we're seeing the reality of what this COVID-19 is doing to people in terms of getting sick and unfortunately some of them passing away from it. So yeah, we realize the importance of life, and obviously that's why we're quarantining, is because we're putting a much more importance on life than on work. And I'm glad that you brought that up, valuing each other and our lives much more than our work. And Jeff Severson is mentioning something. Let's see. I volunteer. Oh, Jeff Severson is volunteering to be your assistant the next time you go to Key West. And he's also a great photographer, so he might not be a bad person for you to bring with you, Keith. This This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show, where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry, owner of Hudson Valley Drones. He takes some amazing aerial shots. We just talked about some of the drone photography and jobs that he does, real estate agents, inspections, and all sorts of things. I know that during this quarantine, he's limited to being able to do that kind of stuff, but you can reach out to him. He's a great resource to speak about that and maybe make plans for the future on that. He also does drone sales, so you can contact him on that. Keith, as we've spoken about already, you're highly active in the community. You do a lot of good in the community and sharing your time. What are you seeing as acts of kindness and generosity? What are you witnessing in your community today in terms of that?
I think one of the most profound and really heartfelt things that I've seen is a blessings box. I don't know if you saw, there was a lot of there are these boxes that are around that are like little libraries where people would exchange books. And some communities, I know Wallkill and Gardner, I think, have these boxes where people go donate food, and people that might need a hand and need some food can go to that box and just get it. And I think that's cool, and I think it's done anonymously. And I think there's a lot of doing good for the sake of being recognized for it kind of
defeats the purpose.
Purpose, right? Then you have to question, and I think that's amazing because it allows people to donate anonymously, and it allows people to get help anonymously. And a lot of people, I would feel embarrassed and self-conscious if I had to do that, and I empathize with everyone that does. I mean, totally. And that gives people a way to, anonymously get some help that they need and they deserve. So those have been really cool to me, and I think that's really
That's really cool. So you have these blessing boxes, and you mentioned that there's one in Wallkill and one in Gardner. So, and these blessing boxes, so what are they, just cardboard wooden boxes, I would assume, I guess, because they got to be able to stay out in the rain or something, right?
Yeah, so they're all a little different. Typically, they're like boxes with on a post with a box on top, like a wooden box. And you can put food in there, and you can put different things. And, some communities maintain them as a community, some just rely on donations. But they're out there, and to the people that need them, and if you need them, they are there, and there's people to help too. So
yeah,
reach out if you need a helping hand. Reach out to me. Reach out to someone. Happy to help if you're struggling during this time.
Yeah, that's really cool. I haven't heard of these boxes, but I'm sure now I'm gonna have to go look for one of them. And if you're out there, make one of these blessing boxes and get them into your community, because obviously they're helping a lot of people out. This is the Shining Light Video Podcast Show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. I'm here with Keith Perry, owner of Hudson Valley Drones. As I said, he takes some really great aerial shots using his drone technology and works with real estate agents, inspectors, and all sorts. You can contact him and speak to him about that further privately. He also sells drones, so you can contact him about purchasing a drone and any questions that you might have about drones. He's a great resource for that. Keith, the last time we spoke, we brought this topic up already, but feel free to bring back up the same people as last time. But if you have anybody new, I would like to ask you, what's a place that once this quarantine is over, you can't wait to bust down the doors and walk through?
I like the Gardner Liquid Mercantile up in Gardner.
That's the same one you said last time.
I know, man. It's authentic. I mean, they had it was a while ago. I don't even remember what it was. They had like buffalo Brussels sprouts that I had as an appetizer, and I've been craving them so bad. So that's just what I want. That's it. I'll find them. I don't care. I'll figure it out.
That's awesome. So that's it. That's the only place. Every place can stay shut down. No. Gardner Liquid Mercantile. Open your doors so Keith can get in there and get his buffalo Brussels sprouts.
And there's a ton. I like Elsie's Place in Walk Hill. That's a great place. It's been around forever, and I used to live in Walk Hill. We used to go there a lot. So Elsie's Place in Walk Hill is great. There's a ton of local restaurants, and
yeah,
all of them are great. I've never had really bad experience in the area. So
I know.
To get out in some businesses more, and
for sure. Yeah, you and I spoke about that the last time. We did talk about how Gardner is like just this awesome small little town that's packed with these great little restaurants and like little spots like Liquid Mercantile and Cafe Mia and the Village. And I mean, there's just all these cool little spots that have their own little niche, and they're just really good stuff. And it's probably because it's everything like farm to table kind of stuff,
Definitely. And, not to short NewPaltz either. There's a ton of great places in NewPaltz. Everywhere, so.
Yeah. No, we're definitely blessed in the Hudson Valley with everything. My father's saying something about deerskin gloves over there. They have a place that sells deerskin gloves, I guess? He's needing his Gardner-made deerskin gloves is what he's commenting. It's probably my mother commenting for him.
Oh, good.
Well, everybody, this has been the Shining Light Video Podcast Show where I shine a light on my guest and the positivity they're spreading. My guest today is Keith Perry, and from Hudson Valley Drones. Keith, I'd like to give you the mic one last time. Any shout-outs, any handles that you'd like to share, any last thoughts that you would like to share before we wrap the show?
No, I mean, I guess yes. First of all, thanks, Mike, for having me on the show.
Sure.
And thanks for doing this every day, man. You're spending so much time on this, and it's so good for the community and helping businesses and just helping people overall. So thank you for that. If you want to follow us, Hudson Valley Drones, check out our website, give us a like, reach out. Let's talk. If you have any questions, give me a shout.
Yeah. And that's Hudson Valley Drones is his handle. That's HV Drones, right?
Correct. It's Hudson Valley Drones on Facebook, and then @HV Drones is the handle. #HV Drones if you take any good shots. Post them on there, and I'll reshare them. #HV Drone.
Cool. Sheila's helped. Sheila Gilday from Gilday Creative is helping us out. She is the chair of the NewPaltz Chamber Regional of Commerce, and so she knows every place. So she was able to decipher what my father was saying, and she's saying it's the throughway market is what my dad is saying. So thank you for that, and thank you, Paul Wolf, for putting @HV Drones in there so that everybody knows what it is. This has been the Shining Light Video Podcast Show where I shine a light on my guests and the positivity they're spreading in their communities. My guest today was Keith Perry of Hudson Valley Drones. As I've said already, he takes some amazing aerial shots. He uses an awesome technology called HDR technology, which makes all of these shots stand out and pop. So visit his Instagram page because he's got some pictures on there. I was like, Keith, how do you get 300, 600 views on these pictures? And he says, I don't know. They're just, people love these images. There's some beautiful shots that he takes of the Hudson Valley. So you can't go wrong by going and visiting his Instagram page. He also sells drones, so you can contact him. He's a great resource for purchasing drones. So contact him about that and any questions you might have. He's a great resource for that, and he'll be able to help you along your way. I also want to give everybody a quick update on Forgotten Children of Haiti's fundraiser, Masks for the Frontline in Haiti. We are stuck. We're stuck at $2,000. We've been stuck for the past 2 days there, which is amazing, and I'm happy to be stuck at $2,000. But we do have a goal of $5,000 that we're looking to meet by the end of May. So first, thank you to all those who have donated. And if you haven't yet, could you please just visit the link in my bio in the description of this video as well. Make a donation. We're asking if you can make a donation of $8. And the reason for that is that frontline workers have to buy locally made masks in Haiti at $8 a piece. So if you can make a donation of $8, just buy one mask for one frontline worker, that would be much appreciated. I want to thank you all so much. Oh, and one last update. I will have Robin Forstall on tomorrow. She works for the St. Luke Foundation, which is the hospital and orphanage that we, Forgotten Children of Haiti, support in Haiti. So she's going to give us an update as to where that donation is going and who it's going to. So tune in tomorrow morning to see her show tomorrow. I want to thank you all. Keith, I want to thank you so much for coming on. It was, like I said before in the show, it was awesome having you on the show as my very first guest. It's really great. You're a great friend. You're a great leader in our community. I want to thank you so much for all you do in our community. Thanks for coming on the show again. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who have been watching, listening, and supporting the show. I want to thank you all. And as always, stay happy and stay healthy, everyone. Bye. Bye, Keith.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye, man.